All right, let's get right into it. We're going to take what might seem like some, kind of dry workplace regulations and turn them into a real practical survival guide. This is all about your basic right to know what chemicals you're working with and, more importantly, how to stay safe around them.
To really get why these rules matter so much, we have to start with a story. It's a tough one, but the most tragic part about it is that it was completely 100% preventable.
So picture this. You've got a worker in a tight space, not a lot of airflow, and they're using a solvent from a container that has no label, nothing, no name, no warnings, zip. And right there, that's the first domino to fall.
Now, without a label, there's just no way to look up the chemical's user manual, what we call its Safety Data Sheet, or SDS. The worker had literally no idea what they were handling. And that was the second, absolutely critical mistake.
Well, it turns out that chemical was highly flammable. The vapor started to build up in that small space, they found a spark, and the result was catastrophic. A huge explosion, all because of a little bit of missing information.
It's a tough thing to think about, but it leads us right to the solution. I mean, how could a simple system, a set of rules that are already out there, have stopped this whole tragedy before it even started?
And that system? Well, it's got a name. It's officially called the Hazard Communication Standard, but pretty much everyone calls it your right to know.
So what is it exactly? Well, HazCom is an OSHA rule. And it says that your employer must, and that's the key word, they must give you all the information and training you need on any hazardous chemicals in your work area. This isn't a friendly suggestion. It's your right.
The whole goal here is to put the power in your hands. It's designed to make sure you know exactly what the hazards are, that you can understand the warning labels, you know where to find the nitty-gritty details in the safety data sheets, and, at the end of the day, that you know how to protect yourself from getting hurt.
All right, so let's talk about our first line of defense. It all starts with being able to read the visual clues, the ones that are staring you right in the face on every single container. And this is the foundation of that whole system, the GHS Hazard Pictograms. GHS just stands for the Globally Harmonized System, which is really just a fancy way of saying these symbols are like a universal language for danger. A skull and crossbones means the same thing here as it does anywhere else in the world.
Now, you don't need to memorize all of them at once, but there are a few you absolutely have to recognize on sight. See the flame? It's flammable. The skull and crossbones? Yeah, that's as serious as it looks. It means acute toxicity. It can be fatal. See the one with the liquid burning a hand? That's corrosion. It'll cause skin burns or even eat through metal. The exclamation mark is a general heads up for things like irritants. And that one that looks like a person exploding? That's the health hazard symbol. It warns you about long-term stuff, like cancer. You gotta know these.
But listen, these pictures are just one piece of a 6-part puzzle. A really important piece, but still just one. Every proper label also has to have the product name, a signal word, like danger or warning, statements about the hazard and how to be careful, and of course, the manufacturer's info.
So the label, that's your quick and dirty, at-a-glance warning. But what happens when you need more than that? What if you need the full story? Well, that's when you turn to the chemical's complete user manual. So you're looking at a label and you see a symbol that makes you, a little nervous. Where do you go to get the full story? All the details about how to handle it, how to store it, and what to do in an emergency. The answer is in a document that has 16 sections. That's right, 16. It's a single, standardized format that tells you absolutely everything you need to know.
And here it is, the Safety Data Sheet, or SDS. Think of this as the complete biography of a chemical. And because every single SDS follows this exact same 16-section format, you never have to waste time hunting for information. You'll always know exactly where to look, and fast.
Okay, 16 sections can sound like a lot. I get it. But here's a pro tip to cut right to what you need. For emergencies, just remember 2 numbers, 2 and 4. Section 2 tells you the hazard, and Section 4 tells you the first aid measures. For just everyday safe use, you're going to want to check Sections 7 and 8, how to handle the chemical safely and what personal protective equipment, or PPE, you need to be wearing.
Look, all these labels and data sheets are great, but they're useless if no one uses them. Safety is a two-way street. It's a partnership between your employer and you, and it only works if everyone plays their part. So, on one side, your employer has their checklist. They've got to keep a chemical inventory, make sure everything is labeled right, give you training, and make sure those SDSs are easy to find. But on the other side, that's where you come in.
Your role is just as crucial, and it's an active role. You have to be the one to read the labels, to follow the PPE rules, and to speak up if a label is missing or if there's a spill.
And this is huge. Remember that your training isn't just something you do on your first day and then forget about. The law says you have to be trained when you start. And, this is the part people forget, you have to be trained again anytime a new chemical hazard shows up in your workplace.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. Let's distill everything we've talked about into a clear, simple action plan that you can literally start using tomorrow.
Here it is, your 5-step safety checklist. It's that simple. Read the label every single time. Don't recognize something? Find the SDS. Wear your gear, know the symbols, and if you see something wrong, say something. That's it. This right here is your key to staying safe.
So let's go all the way back to that explosion we talked about at the beginning. You know what the official investigation found? It wasn't some unavoidable freak accident. The root causes were simple. No training, no label, and no access to the SDS. Every single one of those failures was preventable, and now you know exactly how to prevent them. So look, this isn't just a bunch of rules to memorize. It's a set of tools. And I want to leave you with a question to take with you. Now that you have these tools, what's the very first thing you're going to check? The first label you're going to look at more closely when you get back to your job?